Upgrading the Nicol Bolas Planeswalker deck. You probably like playing Nicol Bolas against Nissa, but now you want to play the deck at Friday Night Magic or the Standard Showdown. It will need a few upgrades to be more competitive. I'll get Papa Mage to show you some simple but awesome upgrades right now. Welcome, Young Mage. I'm the Rhino. Young Mage is devoted to reaching and teaching young mages of all ages. Subscribe now to show your support. And don't forget to tap that bell down below to get notifications of all the cool stuff coming soon. Before we get started, tell me what card you want the most out of Devastation in the comments below. I'd really like to know. Nicol Bolas is the reason for the set, and his Planeswalker deck is really cool, but he needs some upgrades to be more competitive. I'm not too great with 3-color decks, so Papa Mage has this deck tech. Take it away, Papa.
Let me first start by saying that a 3-color deck is tricky for a new player. It's even tricky for people that have been playing for some time. When I saw the Nicol Bolas Planeswalker deck, it looked pretty good. The average mana cost was a bit high, but the mana curve was pretty good and it looked like it had a reasonable mix of creatures and spells. But it was lacking. Even though Nicol Bolas is in the deck, he's not a major win condition. The creatures are the win condition, and if you happen to get Nicol Bolas out, well, that's nice too. So this is an attempt to make Nicol Bolas the center of attention in the deck because he's a big Elder Dragon. I'm going to shift the deck to a control deck. We want to take out any threat our opponent can bring out and whittle them away with a few creatures and the big guy himself, Nicky. Will this deck win you Friday Night Magic or the Standard Showdown? Probably not. It will be annoying. It is a lot of fun. But I would classify this deck as casual plus. So this is what I took out. Kindra Eternal. It's a simple 2/2 for 2 with an Afflict of 1, so it will always get in at least 1 damage. That's not enough of a benefit to keep it in the deck, so this puppy is out. Aerial Guide. He's an okay 2/2 for 3 with flying, but his added ability to help make one of your creatures fly is kind of ho-hum. We don't want a lot of creatures anyway, so he's gone. The Marauding Bone Slasher. I'm sure he will be okay in an aggro zombie deck, but he's too limiting here. I need something that can block with or without a zombie on the battlefield. And the last creature, Zealot of the God Pharaoh. Technically I can't take him out because he's a specialty card. I'll put him in the sideboard, but I don't have to like it. He is a reasonable 4/3 for 4, but using his added ability of doing 2 damage to your opponent for 5? There's better ways of doing direct damage. Since we aren't going to have a lot of creatures, the supernatural stamina doesn't make sense to keep in the deck. I'm afraid I'll have it in my hand and have no reasons to ever cast it. The same is true for the Throne of the God Pharaoh. This is a great card in a massive creature deck, something that will suck life using creatures that you tap each turn. In this deck, it will be a waste of a card slot. Open Fire can do 3 damage to a creature or player for 3. I'd rather use something like a Shock that will do 2 damage for 1, so this one is out too. And the last thing I took out is Final Reward. That's a lot of mana just to exile a creature. I think I would rather make it so they never get to cast a creature in the first place. With no creatures on the battlefield, I don't need this for removal. I have something else planned for the embalmed and eternalized creatures. So you know I'm going to have a lot less creatures. I'm not going to actually add any more creatures. The Burning Fist Minotaur is actually kind of neat. First Strike is nice, and the ability to discard a card and use a little mana to pump him up is good. And I actually have a card or 2 I may want to discard. The Wasp is part of the specialty cards, so I can't remove it, but it's not too bad really. You can take out threats when Nicky comes into play, and a 2/1 flyer for 2 isn't too bad in the early game. In this deck, the Amit Eternal is a bit of a decoy. I want my opponent to focus on trying to take him out, especially if it causes them to cast a lot of spells unnecessarily. I want my opponent to be top decking as soon as possible. Since I'm making this more of a control deck, the Eternal of Harsh Truce should be swinging without any blockers, which will keep me drawing cards. That's good. That's really good. And the final creature is the Manticore Eternal. A 5/4 for 5 that can afflict 3 is really nice. The fact it's attacking each turn isn't much of a disadvantage in this case. On to the spells. I've knocked the creatures down to 10 and pumped up the spells to 24. We don't want our opponent to have anything on the battlefield, so we're going to burn or counter anything that comes out. Magma Spray was already in the deck, but it fits the bill and exiles the creatures to boot. Super annoying. I added 2 shocks because why not? The only reason I don't have 4 is because I have other ways to take out creatures that will give some better results. I put the Crook of Condemnation in to get rid of embalmed and internalized creatures. That way they can't come back to be a problem for me later. Cut to Ribbons was added as a full playset. The cut portion of the card can take out just about any creature. It's like a double shock for creatures at sorcery speed. If you are doing a good enough job keeping creatures from entering the battlefield, this can be a card that the Burning Fist Minotaur can discard. I really want Ribbons in the graveyard. Later in the game, when you have a lot of mana, it can do a lot of damage. Now for some of the blue control pieces. Essence Scatter is great for keeping them from casting creatures. Enough said. I did put 3 negates in this deck. This can keep them from playing enchantments, planeswalkers, but more importantly, it can counter their counterspells. That will protect our few creatures. Riddle Form is a nice enchantment to let you scry. Since we're casting a lot of non-creature spells, making a 3/3 Flying Sphinx is a bonus. So does that make Riddle Form a spell or a creature? Both. As long as you cast a spell on your opponent's turn, he can become a surprise blocker too. Supreme Will allows you to either counter your opponent's spells or you can go digging for a card you may need. In this case, I like this much better than Censor. We need the option for the card draw. Glimmer of Genius allows you to draw more cards with no real downside. We don't need the energy it produces, but card draw is very important in a deck like this. We had to leave in the Visage of Bolas. It's like having 2 extra Nickies in the deck. It will also allow you to get in an extra mana, which is nice too. So what does this deceiving Nicol Bolas do? Well, he forces our opponent to lose life or discard cards or sacrifice creatures. That's useful. He can directly take out a creature and let you draw a card. That works too. If there's no creatures on the battlefield, he can just draw a card. But why? Force them to discard or lose 3 life. And his ultimate is pretty good too. 7 direct damage and drawing cards is nice. If you ultimate him, hopefully you already have your opponent down to 7 or under. So with all of these changes, you must be thinking I made a major change to the mana base. Not really. I'm even keeping it at 26 lands. Surprise, surprise. We need to make sure we never miss a land drop. The only thing I'm doing is adding Evolving Wilds and a couple more buddy lands with the Highland Lake and Submerged Boneyard. I would have loved to put in some faster lands, but those are a resource that new players will not have an easy access to. If you have them, definitely use them. So now, what would I put in the sideboard? Well, our Zealots are stuck there for now, and we have a few extras of our blue control spells, but I've added By Force to take out pesky artifacts. This includes any vehicles, which I think will have a bigger presence when the Ixalan set comes out. I have 3 Scarab Feasts to exile cards from our opponent's graveyard. More ways to get rid of embalmed and eternalized creatures. I also have 1 each of the defeat cards in our colors. It's nice to have these when you are in a game against any of these planeswalkers. As you can see, our mana curve favors 2 drops, and the majority of our cards can be played using 3 mana or less. This makes it a much better, a little bit faster, and a lot more annoying.
Wow, I think I'm ready to play this deck. What do you think of Nikki now? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to watch the other videos on upgrading the Nissa and Nicol Bolas decks. The link is in the description below. Make sure you click like on each of my videos, it helps out a lot. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And there are a few things here and here that may interest you. I have more videos coming out soon, and until then, Rhino out.